Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Super Saturday Nostalgia, where we check out some old classic Saturday morning superhero cartoons. I am the Athletic Geek, joined once again by the Animeister.
Hey guys, how's it going today?
And we are back to Superman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
And this is probably the one that you have the least experience with.
No, I've watched this a lot.
Okay.
I've seen this quite a bit. I have it on DVD.
We are watching the DVD version of this. We are on episode 6, season 1, episode 6, Feeding Time. So if you would
Featuring one of who I feel like is one of his most underrated villains, Parasite.
Right. So if you would like to follow along with us, we are watching this on the DVD version. We are currently staring at Bugs Bunny on the WB logo. So if you'd like to put your DVD in, pull up this episode, or find this on your streaming service and get this pulled up, go ahead and press play now.
All the shows we do on this one, I would say this is probably the one I'm like, about.
Right.
And it's not that I don't like this show. I do like this show. It's just, I find the other ones more entertaining.
Now, see, once upon a time, I would have probably felt that way. Mm-hmm. Like, as a kid, definitely, even though I did really like this show as a kid. Now, it's kind of Spider-Man that I'm feeling that way about.
Yeah, kind of. And it also
I guess it's because, like, I've seen a better version of, like, no, I love the series. And then I've been kind of ragging on Spider-Man too much, so I'm not like saying I dislike the show, but I guess it's because, I've seen better out of Spider-Man that now it's like, I haven't seen a better Superman or animated series besides maybe the 30s Fleischer cartoons. I haven't seen a better Batman series. X-Men bias, but I like that X-Men series more because of the tone and the feel. Oh, you have scared Superman.
He's like, I want to touch you.
Currently, though, dating this particular recording, Superman is, he's out of himself. That's the big story.
Yeah.
He has revealed to everybody that Clark Kent is Superman.
Interesting take.
Yep. And I'm interested to see where it goes. This is kind of something that Bendis has wanted to do for a while. But, yeah.
Oh, what's Parasite's real name? Rudy? Is it Rudy?
I don't remember.
It's something with an R.
I wonder if we're gonna...
Rudy, yep.
And not the guy who played for Notre Dame.
No, not Sean Astin.
No.
Although, that'd be a nice little reference if they ever get him back in an animated show, have
right.
Sean Astin voice him.
Or the actual Rudy.
True. I think it'd be more likely if Sean Astin.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And it's not, and I agree with you, though. Like, when I was a kid, when this was on, I'm like, it's okay. But if like Dragon Ball Z was on, I was probably watching Dragon Ball Z over.
What's funny about if it was not for this show, I would have never been introduced to Dragon Ball Z.
True.
Because I would always this was on after Dragon Ball Z on the Toonami block whenever I was in 6th grade. That's when I got Cartoon Network in the area, and I liked the show, and I'm like, I want to watch Superman.
Good for you.
And one time there was nothing else on TV, and I said, like, well, I'll watch what's on before Superman, and it was Dragon Ball Z, and I got hooked.
Mm-hmm. Now, funny enough, and don't get me wrong, I still love Dragon Ball Z, but if I had to watch one continuously, I would probably choose Superman, because no disrespect to DBZ or even some other animes, a lot of filler.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of like... Now I almost find it like a chore getting through DBZ.
Yes, there's a reason why some of those seasons are still in the saran wrap on my bookshelf over there. There was a old joke I saw when I first got into DBZ. How many DBZ characters it takes to screw in a light bulb?
One, it just takes them forever.
Well, one, it just takes 12 episodes.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that this series does, I'd like to show this series to all the haters that say Superman's too overpowered to be interesting.
They kind of limit him a lot.
They limit...
And
he's been limited for years. That's just kind of because it's kind of cool to hate on Superman. That's just kind of their go-to.
And here it is.
We don't like Superman, so he's overpowered, so we don't want to watch him. It's like, well, that shows you don't. Well, why don't you read this book? Oh God, that's gruesome.
This is kind of grotesque for a kid show.
Yeah.
It looks like a dying like zombie corpse.
Yes.
In the mirror, how's it look?
But, you know, I feel like Superman's overpowered is just kind of like the cop-out excuse of, I don't want to like Superman, so I'm not going to give it a chance. He's overpowered.
Mm-hmm. I almost feel
but
like
Captain Marvel's okay, even though she's more overpowered than Superman.
Although I feel like with Superman, I almost feel like it's not his powers they don't like. I think it's what he stands for, because it is truth, justice, and the American way. And
that is not cool in this day and age.
No, because unfortunately, the way things are viewed has changed.
Which is why Captain Marvel, you know, who is even more overpowered and even less interesting, is the best character ever, because she stands for pretty much the opposite of Superman. Her version of truth, her version of justice, and what she feels stopping the American way, because the American way is not the right way of doing things.
I do like the fact that the first aid people had like Curious George hats on. And I said this earlier in the video. I do like Parasite as if I think of like Superman villains, like the top four that always like pop in my head are Lex Luthor, Brainiac, and then it's like Metallo and Parasite.
Those are probably the three. The thing about this show,
they made a lot of the villains up because he doesn't
like
Livewire, the Volcano Girl.
Yeah.
Later in the series, I'm trying to think who else was like.
But the other thing they did to make up that was they also used other DC heroes, which is something I really liked about this show. Is because like when I got introduced to this is when I started reading more comic books, and I'm like, ooh, the Flash is on this. Yep. Ooh, Green Lantern. There's Aquaman. There's all these. You know, they use Darkseid. They
which because of this series, a lot of people think Darkseid is a
Superman villain, but no, he's a JLA villain.
He's kind of like the Thanos of.
And dare I even say, I think Darkseid's cooler than Thanos. I know, I know
Thanos is a cheap ripoff of Darkseid.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know now, like Thanos is like king shit to everybody.
That's just because he's been done right on film. I feel like,
but Darkseid is.
If we would ever get a sequel to Justice League that would introduce Darkseid, which unfortunately I think the DCEU is kind of they're doing kind of more standalone stuff as of right now, which is it seems to be working better. I feel like.
Well, they kind of rushed stuff out too quickly.
They did.
They were so behind the eight ball. They were peddling it out before they need to. Now, in some cases, I think like it was. As I've said before, I feel like they kind of crapped on things more than they deserve to be crapped on. Was Justice League anywhere near Avengers? No. But was it a bad movie? Also no.
I didn't think so. I thought it was enjoyable.
Batman vs. Superman, like people like went into that movie ready to hate it when really it was about as good as your average Marvel.
You know my take on this because me and you have had heated discussions about Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
I went in there I'm like, I don't think this is going to be good. Because I actually didn't. I had mixed feelings on Man of Steel. But whenever I came into Batman vs. Superman, surprisingly, I enjoyed it. Was it the best thing ever? No.
No, it wasn't the best thing ever. But, like, for all the hate it got.
Yes.
You know, like, I can. The way I see it is, like, they hate on that movie so much. Yet, you know, they loved Avengers 2. You know, they loved Iron Man 3. They loved, you know, Thor the Dark World. They loved Ant-Man. And it's like,
I do like Ant-Man.
I like Ant-Man a lot, but I think, like, all those are as good as Batman vs. Superman. You know, but one, you know, had the fun stuff behind it, and the other one, you know, kind of had...
And I do like the fact, though, that DC is starting to have a little more fun with their stuff. Like, you can tell, like, it's not all, like, dark and dreary. And that actually happened in Justice League. It was, like, This is actually okay. This is how I see the Justice League kind of interacting with each other, especially Flash. He's the goofball.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about the Justice League, the thing that I really didn't like about the Justice League movie, I thought that the villain was weak. Like I didn't really feel like the Justice League would have to come
who
in.
Steppenwolf was.
Yeah,
At first I was like, the band.
Yeah.
All right, here we
What's
go.
that?
The big confrontation, first meeting.
And Superman wants to help. The thing is, like, everybody says that everybody, like, doesn't like Superman because he tries to help people. And everybody's like, oh, this is too cliche and this is bad. It's like, to me, like, especially in this day and age, the fact that he still wants to help is, like, that's awesome.
If not, we'd have something like Brightburn.
What?
Brightburn. Okay, so it's a James Gunn produced movie, and it's pretty much, what if Superman grew up in the modern age and was evil?
Yeah.
So very gruesome film actually in some aspects, but I didn't care for it as much as I thought I would.
Right. But to me, like, we live in a world where, like, all one person has to do is say, oh, hey, I don't completely feel the same way. I don't completely agree with your thoughts on this thing. And we're like, well, cancel that person out of your life because unless they are to the letter agreement with you on everything, they're bad. And, like, Superman still just wants to help everyone. Mm-hmm. To me, that's like, that gives me more of a reason to want to like Superman this day and age because he doesn't want to just at the first sight of like, oh, well, you're this way. I don't like you no more. Oh, you're gay. I want to help you. Oh, you're a cop. I don't want to help you. Oh, you're whatever.
True.
Like that's, to me, it's more interesting to see somebody who still wants to help everyone in an unfortunate time where you only want to help out the people that are like you.
Mm. I do. I'm gonna go off on a different tangent here.
Until he sucks the city dry.
That or, I feel like this animation is very. I like Bruce Timm and all, but I do feel like this animation has a lot of inconsistencies. Just the style, because it always bugged me that Superman has no like white in the eye, like Batman or even Jimmy right there. You can tell it's. I don't know why that.
I still.
I like
comparing this animation. I still think it's a more timeless animation than the other two shows we cover here on the channel.
Well, part of that though is like I feel like if it wasn't for the weird CGI that Spider-Man tried to do, like I feel like that show would.
It's a little,
and it's just more like it's a product of the '90s where everything, even if you look at the comics, everything is like super muscular, macho man.
I get what it's a valid critique of this animation style.
This though could be.
But on the flip side, things like you could have this animation style today and it would still work. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like that's pretty cool. He knows he gets his power back by just bending back.
I feel good now.
But this animation style could be made today, and you'd be like, okay, this seems current.
In a way, they kind of have because my nephews watch it's called Justice League Action. And it kind of has a Bruce Timm verse style animation to it, and a lot of the. I like.
Oh God! It had Parasite knows.
I do like the fact that since he drained him, he knows his memories too. So it's I don't like his little built-on leotard though.
Yeah, that was the big thing in the New 52 was they got rid of the yellow or the red panties on the outside of his tights. But
Superman, I was actually referring to Parasite.
Oh wow!
His has when he first came about, you just saw him. He was purple, and all of a sudden now he has weird.
I actually forgot that Parasite finds out his identity.
I vaguely remembered that.
Yeah, I forgot all about
this. I like how his looks like he's wearing a mask because how his mouth's moving and his eyes. It feels like there's shadow, if he had a mask on, but it's no, that's how he is. With Parasite, the shadow is the.
Oh, he's threatening to call Perry. Oh, God.
There is that humorous episode with Parasite later, and I always remember it because it ends with him just in a jail cell watching like TV.
Yeah, you want. My favorite episode, and we'll get to this one even more quickly, is Mixie. When we get to Mixie, it's going to be awesome with Gilbert Godfrey.
How
But
do you not like it? It's Gilbert Godfrey.
yeah, but we're talking Parasite now. I can't get too excited about the future when we get.
But I, come on, Soupy.
Yeah.
Nope, he's like, I can't do it. Lois.
Well,
You don't see Lois as much as I remember you seeing her in this show. She's there, but it's like.
And the funny thing, Lois, Dana Delaney, who also played.
Andrea Barbeau.
Yes. Andrea Beaumont.
Beaumont, not Barbeau.
Andrea Beaumont, Mask the Phantasm.
Yes. Which she
But,
did so good in that part, they offered her the role of Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Nice.
Two different characters, though, but still. Yep. I think she does an awesome job as Lois.
Yeah, I like her. I like her almost a little more. I don't know. I like her as Lois, but I feel like I liked her better as Phantasm. I almost feel like just because there's a lot more emotion in that performance.
Yeah, but she really captures the spirit of Lois.
She does that sassy kind of.
Yeah.
And almost like I want to say like a '40s news person.
Yeah.
But I like it that it's more timeless.
Yes.
Although,
and Jimmy Olsen, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I do know he also in the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance, or maybe the second one. Yeah, the second one, he has the voice of Human Torch, too. So
that makes sense. Although, then it like kind of throws you off because Jimmy has a mullet.
It's not really a mullet. It's
like a backwards mullet. The top's longer
right.
than the bottom. It's that night. You know what it reminds me? It's like that 80s hair. You see in like
yes.
music videos. I'm like, that's what that is. It's almost like. I will say, I've never been much of a Jimmy fan. And I know like it's like you can't have Superman without Jimmy in there, but it's like.
Right.
I've never been that big of a Jimmy fan.
I kind of. He's like. I like him to the sense of, like, I respect what they're doing with Jimmy Olsen. Mm. He's very much like, the whole reason I liked Robin as a kid is, you can't really see yourself as Batman, but you can see yourself going on adventures with Batman. You can't really see yourself as Superman, but you can kind of see yourself being Superman's friend that he does trust with a lot of everything.
I almost feel like it's, where you have Robin, it's like, yeah, I get to go with Batman, and then it's like, well, I know Superman, and
I'll take a picture.
I can take a picture of him, and we're good buddies. That's about it, though. He doesn't let me be his sidekick. That was my Jimmy. It was awful, I know, but kind of like how I feel about Jimmy.
The Jimmy series going on right now is kind of fun.
Look,
it's a Matt Fraction book, so I mean, there you go.
Fraction, I like him.
My only issue with this, it's like several small stories in one book that all get continued in the next book, so.
Is it kind of sadistic? He just has him like a prisoner to where he can just recharge him?
Yeah.
For a kid show, I'm like, kind of sadistic. Mm-hmm. But, we're 90s kids. We can deal with that.
Yes. Like you said, he's the meal ticket. Mm-hmm. So.
And I do agree, like, somebody said, like, I saw a meme the other day, and it was, like, 90s to, like, 97 talking to, like, 98, 99 born kids. Are like, you're not really 90s kids. And it's like, no, that's unfair. But I'm like, think about it. It's not, because you don't really remember anything from the 90s.
Yeah, my whole child... I was born at the end of the 80s. I grew up... I was a child of every part of the 90s.
I was 92, so
I remember the Super Nintendo and the N64. So
I remember both of those. 92, I think, was like that was a good time because you had like the end of the 80s shows where you still caught all those. Yeah. But then all of the 90s.
You had Nicktoons. You had all this. You had.
Fun fact, though, I think Batman actually premiered in 92, so I was born with Batman.
There you go. Again, if we haven't done this enough on the other ones, Tim Daly's just awesome as Superman.
I do like. You know, you have that voice you always picture, like Kevin
Right.
Conroy as Batman. Tim Daly for me is Superman when I read it.
When I read just the Superman book now, whenever I read like Superman Earth 1, I use Tom Welling.
Or even Christopher Reeve pops up in.
Yes,
Who
Christopher Reeve is for Clark. Whenever he's being old dorky Clark.
Yeah.
Then I do the Christopher Reeve. Well, gee golly, Lois, what are you doing?
Yep. The lead suit.
Can't see through lead, but kryptonite can't hurt him.
True. I am excited for when we do get to like Livewire though, because I think she was a good addition to the. Uh-oh.
I mean, like I kind of am now because like when I see Livewire, like she just reminds me of like. She reminds me of the like obnoxious fanboys and fangirls who, just hate on Superman.
I like that he turns green with the kryptonite.
Right. But yeah, that kind of is Livewire. It's like, I don't like Superman. Why? Reasons. Get over it. Like, that's what Livewire reminds me of now.
She's a more obnoxious version of J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Poor Parasite. He's like, I didn't mean to. I do like Parasite too, because his
oh no.
A cockroach. That sadistic smile.
That is creepy.
With Parasite though, another thing, his design is never consistent.
Yeah.
Any book you look at, he is drawn like totally different to where sometimes you're like, oh, that's Parasite? Like it's kind of amazing how I think he's the only character I can think of that doesn't have a consistent design.
Well, that is the end of this particular episode of Super Saturday Nostalgia and Superman. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of superheroes, but from the world of gaming, anime, pro wrestling, and all things geek culture. Go follow me on all my social media pages, facebook.com/athleticgeek89. Follow me on Twitter at athletic_geek89. And follow me on Instagram at athleticgeek89. And we're working on Animeister.
I am still a off-the-grid hobo.
Yes.
But have any questions for me?
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment in the thing, and if I see it, I will try and get back to you.
Yep. But thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.